In the context of offices and banks featuring unknown receptacles, the National Electrical Code offers two distinct methodologies for ascertaining the demand factor associated with these plugs. Firstly, one can leverage Table 220.13, designated for receptacle loads and occupancies other than dwelling units. This table delineates demand factors contingent upon the aggregate wattage of the receptacles. However, the applicability of this method is predicated on computing the outlets at a rate not exceeding 180 volt-amperes per outlet. Secondly, an alternative approach involves employing a uniform metric of 1 volt-ampere per square foot for all indeterminate plugs. This latter method typically finds favor when dealing with expansive areas characterized by an ambiguous count of unknown plugs. To illustrate these methods, consider an office space spanning 20,000 square feet. Adopting the 1 volt-ampere per square foot approach, the resultant aggregate volt-amperes for unknown plugs would amount to 20,000 volt-amperes. Conversely, if one were to invoke Table 220.13, the computation would entail factoring in 3.5 volt-amperes per square foot for the identified receptacles, yielding 70,000 volt-amperes, and supplementing this with the 1 volt-ampere per square foot for the unknown plugs, resulting in an additional 20,000 volt-amperes. The composite wattage would then stand at 90,000 volt-amperes. Consulting Table 220.13, the demand factor corresponding to 90,000 volt-amperes is 0.55. The National Electrical Code does not explicitly dictate a definitive method to be adopted when the cumulative volt-amperes for unknown plugs surpasses 10,000 volt-amperes. Nevertheless, the prevailing consensus suggests that for extensive locales harboring a substantial quantity of unknown plugs, the application of the 1 volt-ampere per square foot method furnishes a more pragmatic estimation of the demand. The selection of the appropriate method is contingent upon the specific attributes of the installation in question and the judicious assessment of the electrician overseeing the project. The essence of these methods lies in their application and understanding the underlying factors that influence their use. Firstly, let's delve deeper into Table 220.13. This table is instrumental in determining the demand factor for receptacle loads, but its application requires careful consideration. The key condition for its use is that the outlets must be computed at not more than 180 volt-amperes per outlet. This stipulation is crucial because it ensures that the table's demand factors, which are empirically derived, remain applicable to the specific loading conditions. The demand factors in Table 220.13 are based on the premise that not all receptacles will be in use simultaneously or at their maximum capacity. They reflect the statistical probability of simultaneous usage, thereby allowing for a reduction in the calculated load for the electrical system. This reduction is essential for optimizing the size and capacity of the electrical infrastructure, including conductors, overcurrent protection devices, and transformers. However, if the receptacle loads are significantly higher than 180 volt-amperes per outlet, the demand factors in the table may not accurately reflect the actual loading conditions, leading to potential underestimation of the demand. Secondly, the 1 volt-ampere per square foot method provides a more straightforward and conservative approach. This method is particularly useful when the exact number and type of receptacles are unknown or when dealing with large, open office spaces where receptacle usage can be highly variable. By assigning a uniform load of 1 volt-ampere per square foot, this method ensures that the electrical system is adequately sized to accommodate the anticipated receptacle load. While this method may result in a slightly higher calculated load compared to using Table 220.13, it provides a greater margin of safety and reduces the risk of overloading the electrical system. This is particularly important in critical facilities where downtime can have significant financial or operational consequences. The choice between these two methods depends on a variety of factors, including the size of the facility, the nature of the occupancy, the expected receptacle usage, and the availability of detailed information about the receptacle loads. In general, Table 220.13 is more suitable for smaller, well-defined spaces where the receptacle loads can be accurately estimated. The 1 volt-ampere per square foot method is better suited for larger, more variable spaces where the receptacle loads are less predictable. In situations where the total volt-amperes for unknown plugs exceeds 10,000 volt-amperes, the National Electrical Code does not provide explicit guidance on which method to use. However, industry practice and engineering judgment generally favor the 1 volt-ampere per square foot method in such cases. This is because the 1 volt-ampere per square foot method provides a more conservative estimate of the demand, which is essential when dealing with large, unknown loads. Additionally, the 1 volt-ampere per square foot method simplifies the calculation process and reduces the potential for errors, particularly when detailed information about the receptacle loads is lacking. It is important to note that the National Electrical Code is a minimum safety standard, and designers and installers are free to exceed its requirements if necessary to ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system. In some cases, it may be prudent to use a combination of both methods, applying Table 220.13 to the known receptacle loads and the 1 volt-ampere per square foot method to the unknown receptacle loads. This approach allows for a more refined estimate of the total demand, while still maintaining a sufficient margin of safety. Furthermore, it is essential to consider the potential for future expansion or changes in receptacle usage when selecting a method. If the facility is expected to grow or if the receptacle usage is likely to increase, it may be prudent to use the 1 volt-ampere per square foot method to ensure that the electrical system has sufficient capacity to accommodate the future load. Ultimately, the choice of method is a matter of engineering judgment and should be based on a thorough understanding of the specific loading conditions and the relevant provisions of the National Electrical Code. Consulting with a qualified electrical engineer is always recommended to ensure that the electrical system is designed and installed in accordance with all applicable codes and standards. Also, it's worth noting that, in addition to the National Electrical Code, local codes and regulations may also apply. These local codes may have additional requirements or restrictions that must be considered when designing and installing electrical systems. It is important to consult with the local authority having jurisdiction to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. When using Table 220.13, it is important to carefully consider the type of receptacles being served. The table provides different demand factors for different types of receptacles, such as general-purpose receptacles, heavy-duty receptacles, and electric vehicle charging receptacles. Using the correct demand factor for each type of receptacle is essential for accurately estimating the total demand. For example, heavy-duty receptacles, which are typically used for industrial equipment and machinery, have higher demand factors than general-purpose receptacles, which are used for office equipment and appliances. Similarly, electric vehicle charging receptacles have significantly higher demand factors due to the high power demand of electric vehicle charging. Therefore, it is crucial to carefully assess the type and usage of each receptacle to ensure that the appropriate demand factor is applied. When using the 1 volt-ampere per square foot method, it is important to consider the overall layout and design of the facility. The 1 volt-ampere per square foot method assumes a uniform distribution of receptacles throughout the space. However, in some facilities, the receptacle density may vary significantly from one area to another. For example, a conference room may have a higher receptacle density than a storage room. In such cases, it may be necessary to adjust the 1 volt-ampere per square foot value to account for the non-uniform receptacle density. This can be done by dividing the facility into different zones based on receptacle density and applying a different 1 volt-ampere per square foot value to each zone. This approach provides a more accurate estimate of the total demand while still maintaining a reasonable level of simplicity. Furthermore, it is important to consider the impact of energy-efficient technologies on receptacle loads. Many modern office equipment and appliances are designed to consume less energy than their older counterparts. This can significantly reduce the actual receptacle load compared to the calculated load based on the National Electrical Code or the 1 volt-ampere per square foot method. In such cases, it may be possible to reduce the size of the electrical system without compromising safety or reliability. However, it is important to carefully evaluate the energy consumption characteristics of the equipment and appliances being used to ensure that the reduction in load is justified. Consulting with an energy efficiency expert can help to accurately assess the impact of energy-efficient technologies on receptacle loads. In addition to the National Electrical Code and local codes, there are also other standards and guidelines that may be relevant to the design and installation of electrical systems. These include standards from organizations such as the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, the American National Standards Institute, and the National Fire Protection Association. These standards provide detailed guidance on various aspects of electrical system design, installation, and maintenance, and can help to ensure that the electrical system is safe, reliable, and efficient. It is important to be familiar with these standards and to incorporate them into the design and installation process whenever possible. For example, the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers Standard 519 provides guidance on harmonic control in electrical power systems. Harmonics are distortions in the electrical waveform that can cause overheating, equipment malfunction, and other problems. Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers Standard 519 provides recommendations for limiting harmonic distortion to acceptable levels. Similarly, the National Fire Protection Association 70E standard provides guidance on electrical safety in the workplace. National Fire Protection Association 70E establishes requirements for arc flash hazard analysis, personal protective equipment, and other safety measures to protect workers from electrical hazards. By following these standards and guidelines, designers and installers can help to ensure that the electrical system is safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable requirements. In summary, determining the demand factor for known plugs in offices and banks requires careful consideration of the National Electrical Code, local codes, and other relevant standards and guidelines. The choice between Table 220.13 and the 1 volt-ampere per square foot method depends on a variety of factors, including the size of the facility, the nature of the occupancy, the expected receptacle usage, and the availability of detailed information about the receptacle loads. Consulting with a qualified electrical engineer and energy efficiency expert is always recommended to ensure that the electrical system is designed and installed in accordance with all applicable codes and standards and that it meets the specific needs of the facility.